Good morning, students. Welcome back to online class. Today we are going to discuss the continuation of the fourth lesson, resistance. What is resistance? Or what is the use of resistance? We can control the amount of flow of current in a circuit with the help of the resistance. We can control the amount of flow of current in a circuit with the help of the resistance. So the resistance is the measure of opposition offered by the component to the flow of electrical current through it. So the resistance, it offers some resistivity. It opposes for the further flow of the electrical current. So the different electrical components offer the different electrical resistance. Already you know, metals like copper, aluminum, etc. have very much negligible resistance. It's a resistance is taken as a very smallest value only. It's a negligible amount only. That's why they are called good conductors. It conducts the current, isn't it? On the other hand, materials like nickel, tin oxide and offer high resistance to the electric current. We also have a category of materials called insulators. What are insulators? It does not conduct electric current. Example, glass, rubber, paper, etc. All these materials are needed in electrical circuit to have usefulness and safety in electrical circuit. So what is resistance? The resistance is the measure of opposition offered by the component to the flow of electric current. It controls the flow of current through the electrical circuit. That's why we are using the resistance. So the unit of the electrical resistance is ohm. The resistance, it is denoted by the symbol is capital R. The SI unit of resistance is ohm. And this is the symbol for ohm. Okay. The resistors can be classified into the two types also. One is taken as a fixed resistor. See the first diagram. This is taken as a fixed resistor. And this is taken as a variable resistor, or we have to call this a rheostat. Or we have to call this what? Rheostat. So the resistors are classified into two types. One is taken as a fixed resistor and second one is the variable resistor or fixed resistor. See the arrow mark. This is taken as a symbol representation of the resistance. We have to draw like this. This is taken as the symbol of the resistance, that is the electrical component, and it is denoted by the symbol is R in the electrical circuit. In the fixed resistance, it is taken as symbol like this. And above the resistance, you have to draw one arrow mark. It gives us variable resistance, and this is taken as a rheostat. So fixed resistors have fixed value of resistance, while the variable resistors like rheostats can be used to obtain the desired value of the resistance. We could able to see in our lab also the fixed resistance and the variable resistors and also the rheostat. So it offers or it controls the amount of flow of current in the particular circuit. So the help of the resistance we could able to stop. This is one is taken as what? Resistance. So next we are to move on to what is or define 1 ohm, because the unit of the resistance is ohm, is needed. So 1 ohm is the resistance of the component when the potential difference of 1 volt is applied across the component, it derives a current of 1 ampere through it. So 1 ohm is nothing but what? The potential difference value is taken as 1 volt. The potential difference value is taken as 1 volt applied across the component. It derives the current of 1 ampere through it. This value will be is equal to what value? 1 ohm. So next we got to move on to electric circuit diagram. To represent an electrical wiring or solve problem involving electric circuits, the circuit diagrams are made. The four main components of the electrical circuits, namely cell, connecting wire, switch and resistor, or we have to use the term is load. In addition to the above, many other electrical components are also used in actual circuit. A uniform system of symbols has been evolved to describe them. It is like learning a sign language, but useful in understanding circuit diagrams. Some common symbols in the electrical circuits are given. Electrical circuit, the symbols are given. See the one type of the electrical circuit. This is taken as a cell. Already you know the symbol of cell, positive terminal and negative terminal. And these lines are taken as a connecting wires. It's connected and it is connected to the switch, or we have to call this key. And after that it is connected with resistance, or we have to call this load. Okay, so the four main components of the electrical circuits are: one is cell, and second one is the connecting wire, third one is the switch, and fourth one is the resistor, or we have to take as a load also. Not only we are using the four electrical components, we could able to use many electrical components also. It is common symbols in the electrical circuits are given. It is useful for the electrical circuit diagrams. So see the tabular column also. The first one is given switch. So already you know the switch also, that is studied in the 7th and 8th standard. Switch, otherwise we have to call this, the term is key or K, switch. Okay, and after that it is given cell. So one positive terminal and one negative terminal is connected. One or more cells are combined. This is called as battery. It's a combination of more than one cell. This is called as the battery. And this is taken as a DC power supply. The two ends only is given. It's inside this one small, the sign symbol is given. No, this is the AC power supply. And this is taken as a light bulb. The bulb is represented the symbol. And this is taken as a potentiometer. What's the use of potentiometer? It develops the electromotive force in between the ends. So EMF can be find out with the help of the potentiometer. And this is taken as a resistor, light dependent resistor. Dependent, okay, DEPEN, dependent resistor. LDR, simply we have to call. And this is taken as joining of wires, the wires joined. And this is the some wires comes for the cross connection also. This is taken as a wire cross. And this is taken as a fixed resistor. In electrical circuit we have to taken as the resistor symbol is this symbol also we could able to use. This is also the fixed resistor. And this is taken as a variable resistor or rheostat. And this is taken as a fuse, electrical fuse. And this is the coil of wire. And this is the symbol for transformer. And this is the semiconductor diode. And this is the symbol of galvanometer, or simply represent the diagram like this, galvanometer. Or we have to represent the galvanometer like this also. What is the use of galvanometer? It is used to find out the direction of the current. That is the use of the galvanometer. Then what is the ammeter? What is the use of ammeter? Ammeter is used to measure the electric current flows through the circuit. What is the use of voltmeter? It is used to measure the potential difference across the electrical appliances. And this is taken as a two-way switch. And this is taken as a earth connector or earth combination. This is taken as a capacitor. This is taken as a thermistor. This is bell. So these are the some of the common symbols in the electrical circuit. Learn this tabular column also. Is a 2 mark question will come. Okay children. Okay, now let us move on to a different electrical circuit. See this diagram also. See the A figure and the B figure also. See the first one, A figure. Here the two bulbs are connected in series. It's needed. So what is the meaning of series? The components are connected one after another. The first bulb is connected to connected to the next bulb, isn't it? So the one components are connected one after to the another in a single loop. This is only is called as the series circuit. And see this figure also, the second figure. Here the two bulbs are connected one by one, isn't it? This is the first bulb and this is the second bulb. One by one the bulbs are connected. So let us see the different kinds of the electrical circuits we have to see. Okay. So the different electrical circuit we have to take as two kinds of the electrical circuit we are using. One is taken as a series circuit. The first diagram, the example is taken as a series circuit. And second one is taken as a parallel circuit. Already you know this word parallel, isn't it? So the first one is taken as a series circuit. The components are connected. The first component is bulb is connected after another in a single loop. It's connected with the help of the wire, isn't it? This kind of the combination is called as the series circuit. In a series circuit, there is only one pathway through which the electric charge flow. So the first, let us consider the 2 ampere. Let us consider as a 2 ampere current flows through the first bulb. The same amount of the current flows through the second bulb because both are connected one after another one with the help of the single wire or in the single loop. From the above, we can know that the current all along the series circuit remains the same. This is the main difference between the series combination and the parallel combinations. What about the current? The current is same. So the first bulb, how much amount of the current is flowing? The same amount of the current flows through the second bulb also. That is, in a series circuit, the current in each point of the circuit is same. What is same here? The current is same. Okay. So next we have to move on to the parallel circuit. In parallel circuits, the components are connected to the EMF source. EMF source is nothing but the battery, isn't it? In two or more loops. In a parallel circuit, there is more than one path for the electric charge to flow. See the diagram also. In the first bulb is connected to the combination, that is a battery, and second bulb also is connected with the battery. It's connected at different combinations. Yes or no? So in a parallel circuit, the sum of the individual current in each of the parallel branches is equal to main current flowing into or out of the parallel branches. Also, in a parallel circuit, the potential difference across separate parallel branches are same. It's nothing but we have to say here in between the two ends we could able to measure the potential difference. The potential difference for the first bulb and the second bulb will be same values as only. So what is the main difference between the series combination and the parallel combination? In the series combination, current is same, and the parallel combination, the potential difference is same. This is the main difference. So the components are connected one after another in a single loop. This is called as series circuit. The components are connected to the EMF source in two or more loops. This is called as the parallel combinations. In the series circuit, current is same. In the parallel combination, the potential difference is same. Are you understand, children?
Good morning, my dear students. Today we learn about alloys. Okay, children, what are alloys? Homogeneous mixture of two or more metals are called alloys. What are alloys? Homogeneous mixture of two or more metals are called alloys. Rarely, non-metals are also mixed with metals to produce alloys. During 3500 BC, people used an alloy named bronze. The idea of making an alloy was quite old. The majority of the metallic substances used today are alloys. For example, ornaments, cutlery item, kitchen utensils, vehicle parts. These are the examples for alloys. So what are alloys? Homogeneous mixture of two or more metals are called alloys. Children, bronze is the example of an alloy. Bronze is a mixture of copper and tin. We know what are alloys? Mixture of metals. Okay, so bronze also a mixture of copper metal and tin metal. So bronze is a mixture of copper and tin. Molten copper and tin metals mixing thoroughly, it produces bronze alloy. So bronze alloy is a mixture of copper and tin metals. It is generally found that alloying produces a metallic substance that has more useful properties than the original pure metals from which it is made. Let us discuss the advantages of alloys. Alloys have advantages over pure metals. Compared to pure metals, alloys are stronger, harder, easier to fabricate and less expensive. So compared to pure metals, alloys are stronger, harder, easier to fabricate, less expensive in nature. We know compared to pure metals, alloys are harder. Alloys are harder than pure metals. We know alloys are mixtures of metals. In an alloy, two or more metals are present. So, alloys are hard in nature. For example, gold is mixed with copper and it is harder than pure gold. So, compared to pure gold, the mixture of gold and copper, that is harder in nature. And students, we know metals are a good conductor of heat and electricity, but alloys have less conductance than pure metals. For example, copper is a metal. We know copper is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So only we are using in electric cables in copper wires. But brass and bronze are alloys, and that brass and bronze are not good conductors. So compared to pure metals, alloys have less conductance than pure metals. Okay. Next we see amalgam. Children, we know alloys are mixtures of two or more metals. Then what is an amalgam? When metal is allied with mercury is called amalgam. And students, you know mercury is a liquid metal. So in any metal mixed with mercury is called an amalgam. For example, silver tin amalgam. And children, what is meant by silver tin amalgam? Liquid mercury mixed with an alloy made of silver and tin. So that silver tin alloy mixed with mercury is called silver tin amalgam. In this silver tin amalgam is used for dental filling. So this silver tin amalgam is called as dental amalgam. So which amalgam is called as dental amalgam? Silver tin amalgam. And what is meant by amalgam? Metal is allied with mercury is called amalgam. Okay students, so I hope you understood alloy and amalgam. What are alloys? Alloys are a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals. And what is an amalgam? Metal is allied with mercury is called amalgam. Okay students, so next class I'll take the new lesson. Thank you.